What is the invisible lion? Every moment of your life, you are doing something very important to your survival. You are assessing threat. Over many millions of years, every organism on this planet has evolved to survive by doing exactly that. So threat detection is at the core of our biological processes. The invisible lion story is just a metaphor about that threat detection process gone wrong.
I didn't have some mysterious disease called anxiety. I had a nervous system which was reacting as if I was in great danger. There would actually be nothing wrong with my thoughts, feelings, and experiences if I had been running away from a dangerous lion. The problem wasn't me, it was the invisible lion. So, can you tell us what is the invisible lion?
Sure. Very quickly, when I eventually recovered and came back to England, I started to do more work in this area as a clinician and eventually set up a clinic mimicking the one I'd been to in America. And what I mainly did was do consultations and assessments for people who were considering treatment. So they'd come in like I had been in the first place. They had all sorts of problems and history of people telling them what's wrong with them, but really none of it made sense. And I had like an hour and a half or 2 hours to try and make it make sense to them. And so I started coming up with these metaphors and analogies and started saying, some of them worked, some of them didn't. And eventually I kind of hit upon a kind of pattern that I would use. And so one of the stories that I came up with is the following. So you think of, we go out in the street here and you see some guy running down the road. He's like wildly screaming, looking around. Maybe he's got a torn shirt and no shoes or something. And then I ask people, what do you think of this guy? Now, most people say, well, he seems a bit crazy to me. I say, okay, do you want to help him? Do you want to cross the road and be on that side of the road or this side of the road? And most people say, well, I'd like to avoid this person. And then I say, well, all right, but now around the corner, you see a fully grown adult lion running after him, roaring, chasing him. Now what do you think of him? They're like, well, he's not crazy anymore. He's just trying to escape the lion. And I said, do you feel like you would help him if you could? And they're like, yeah, sure, why not? If I could do anything about it. And the point is that the man is exactly the same. So there's been this significant change in how I see him. Like, this person is crazy, I want to avoid him, to this person is normal and I want to help him. But he's exactly the same. So his body's doing the same thing. He's still wildly running. He's still chaotic. But he's okay because there's a lion. And the point is that you can look at a lot of the things that we call mental illness, particularly things like anxiety and depression, which are the extreme ranges of nervous system response to threat. And you can say, oh, this person wildly malfunctioned. But they're not in the right context. So maybe what's wrong isn't my body. Maybe I'm not malfunctioned. Maybe what's wrong is my perception of threat. So if there's a lion, if my body is perceiving a lion, but you can't see it and I can't see it, that's the basis for this idea of the invisible lion. And then the question is not how do I fix my body, but how do I find out what's going on with this lion? What is the lion? Where does it come from? Why is it here? And what can we do about it? And it turns out that that's actually the way to treat the problem. And that's how I was treated. And that's how I recovered. So after a year of going around all of the, private and public sector treatments you could possibly imagine, none of which touched the sides of my problem. Just finding someone who understood what these conditions really come from changed everything. Because if you understand the causality of a problem properly, then you understand how to treat it.